すっごくお得な裏技ご紹介します。お楽しみに。今強い地震が起こりました。カメラマンが皆さん、安全なところに避難してください。カメラマンの皆さん、安全なところに避難してください。
On January 17th, 1995, a devastating earthquake hit Japan. The Kobe earthquake, also known as the Great Hanshin earthquake, was a 6.9 magnitude earthquake. This disaster lasted about 20 seconds, although not too long. It caused significant damage to the areas affected. The epicenter of the earthquake was in the northern part of Awaji Island, only 20 kilometers from the port city of Kobe. The death toll of this earthquake was estimated to be about 6,400, with 14,000 people injured. The Hanshin region of Japan was mostly affected, with at least 120,000 damaged buildings. This also came with the destruction of one of the major transportation methods, the Hanshin Expressway. The earthquake caused about $15 billion in damages, seriously affecting the economy of Japan. A strike-slip jolt that occurred on Nojima Fault was overlooked because Nojima Fault was thought to be safe. Since the fault had low seismic vulnerability, the buildings nearby were not made to withstand harsh earthquakes and shakes. The government did not send out an early earthquake warning for this disaster, so barely anyone was expecting an earthquake, especially a strong one. As people who lived in Kobe did not usually have earthquakes, there was no safety information for them to follow. The residents did not know what actions to do in case of an earthquake, resulting in many confused and distraught families. Although the videos of the earthquake were broadcasted only 1 hour after the earthquake, Prime Minister Tomochi gave orders to save trapped victims 30 hours after the disaster. This very delayed response ended up with people trying to save their families themselves, even though it was unsafe. The government also declined foreign aid, stating that the language barrier and lack of medical accreditation was why they did not accept the help, even though they were already struggling with the overwhelming victims. Because of the epicenter being close to a highly populated area, the impact of the earthquake was severe. It went so far that the ER did not take in people with broken bones and only people who were in critical condition. Despite the efforts of the government, their response was criticized by the citizens. People believed that the government did not take this disaster seriously, leading to distrust in the government's ability to be able to provide adequate emergency measures in case a natural disaster occurred again. This put a negative view of the government in many people's minds.
はい、今度は持ち上げてきて。
People were cut from water supplies, and food was rare to come by. With no shelter for people to live in, they were directed to relief centers. The relief centers that were set up were already filled with people, and no one had any directions, leading to disorderly panic amongst the victims. The remaining survivors had to live in cars, parks, public halls, and even schools. Gas and electricity were shut down, and food was not provided, even after 48 hours after the earthquake. The government did not tell people when the repairs would begin, adding on to the confusion of the situation. Many people were lost in what to do. Another thing that frustrated the people living there was the destruction of their main way of transportation. Parts of the expressway of Hanshin were destroyed, leading to people not being able to access their work in other cities or travel to live with other families who had housing. It was expected to take anywhere from several months to years before the expressway would be repaired back to normal. Many train routes were canceled, some even that were in other cities due to trains being too damaged to operate and drive to other cities.
フロントガラスがかなりひびが入っています。血の跡がありますね。運転していた方は大丈夫だったんでしょうか。
Because of the earthquake, it was revealed that buildings needed better reinforcement to withstand earthquakes in the future. The government worked to produce better upgrades to buildings in the Kobe area, making it safer for residents in the future. After the Kobe earthquake, the government handled natural disasters more efficiently and effectively. In a more recent earthquake on March 11, 2011, the government accepted foreign assistance, leading to more organized rescue teams and less casualties. In another earthquake called the Tohoku disaster, which was one of similar severity, the government had made sure to warn the citizens of the emergency before it had occurred, so that more people were prepared to face it, unlike the Kobe earthquake. After the Kobe earthquake, Japan's government made an effort to update and enforce stricter safety building codes, with a main goal to ensure buildings' earthquake resistance. In conclusion, due to the poor emergency response of the Kobe earthquake in 1995, the Japanese criticized the government's actions. Because of the pressure of the citizens, the government reflected on their actions during this crisis. They changed the country's building codes to be stronger and let themselves warm up to other foreign countries like America, leading them finally accepting their help in the future. Today, the Kobe earthquake serves as a reminder of what government should not do during an emergency and shows why being prepared for natural disasters is important. The earthquake is a lesson that taught us how severe earthquakes can be and how we should take them seriously, not overlooking them. Japan has recovered from this disaster and now takes earthquakes very seriously, implementing strict building codes and accepting foreign aid to ensure that the way the Kobe earthquake was handled will never happen again.